In industry, you'll really go deep into that.
बट कंसल्टिंग में आप बहुत फ्लेवर देख रहे हो.
बहुत फ्लेवर देखते हैं हम कंसल्टिंग में. This tracking of revenue happens on a weekly basis in consulting. Every single week.
कितने नंबर ऑफ आवर्स बिलिंग हुई है. कंसल्टेंट एंड सीनियर कंसल्टेंट लेवल पे हम और थोड़ा सा हायरार्की लेवल पे बात करते हैं कि जब कोई ज्वाइन करता है तो व्हाट आर द एक्सपेक्टेशन एट दीज टू लेवल्स फ्रॉम द कैंडिडेट एंड व्हाट ही कैन डू टू डू बेटर इन दीज टू लेवल्स.
सीनियर कंसल्टेंट से मैनेजर स्लाइटली डिफिकल्ट, मैनेजर से सीनियर मैनेजर मोर डिफिकल्ट. These promotions in consulting start becoming difficult as you progress.
अगर कोई मैनेजर लेवल पे जाता है तो मैनेजर लेवल पे जनरली रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज क्या होती है? मतलब जो आपने एक पॉइंट बोला कि रिलेशनशिप बनाना है और जो बिलिंग हो रही है उसको कंटिन्यू करना है, कम से कम बढ़ा ही नहीं सकते तो वो एटलीस्ट कंटिन्यू करते हैं
बेयर मिनिमम.
तो यहाँ पे मैनेजर को टीम हैंडल करने दी जाती है.
बिल्कुल.
तो उनके उसकी टीम पूरी एक पर्टिकुलर प्रोजेक्ट पर बैठी है.
यस.
अगर कोई अपना करियर बनाना चाहता है इन कंसल्टिंग कंसल्टिंग तो आपके हिसाब से 4-5 क्या स्किल सेट उसमें होने चाहिए? Hello guys, I hope everybody is doing good. Hi, this is Ganesh Nayak. I help finance professionals and students to excel in their career and become a better version of themselves. And I also help students who are preparing for competitive exams in finance like CFA, FRM, CI and ECCA. And today, as a part of that journey, we are talking to people from the industry and we have with us Ashmant sir, and he's going to be helping us with what is the life in risk consulting. Okay, and he has around 17 years of experience overall with 7 years of hardcore risk consulting experience. So we'll talk about his entire journey and more focusing on what happens in risk consulting. And this podcast is going to be a mix of Hindi and English. So Ashmat sir, thank you very much. आपने time दिया.
Pleasure.
For the audience, अगर आप अपनी journey अगर आप बता सकते हो.
Sure.
Till now, college and all everything, अगर आप एक brief दे सकते हो.
Sure. So I graduated from JBIMS in 2010, and post MBA. I worked briefly with Yes Bank in corporate lending.
Okay.
Right. And then those corporate lending days really taught me balance sheet reading,
Okay.
fundamentals of credit risk. Right. If you want to sort of lend to a particular corporate, what are the things, financial, non-financial, qualitative, and overall what you're looking at, pricing, risk-based returns, etc. So got some background into that. Okay. Then for 4 years, I was with HSBC as a business analyst. Okay. Yeah, because somewhere back of my mind, because even after my engineering, I used to work in BKC. I was with ICICI.
Achha, you were in Mumbai.
So I got that flavor that, this functional consulting is a thing. Okay. Even in 2005. Okay. So I always wanted to come here. During my placements, one option was that to take a IT consulting or that kind of a role, but I thought of spending some time in the industry and getting some background right. Okay. So post Yes Bank, then I was with HSBC when I worked with some large scale corporate banking related change programs, wherein how change actually happens in a bank, what is the bank's internal mindset, a multinational bank when it's trying to change or bring about certain regulatory changes, etc. So I got some exposure there. Then I had a brief stint with Wolters Kluwer Financial Services, which is a product company, and they have a market-leading product, OneSumX. Okay. That creates your liquidity, interest rate risk, and different kind of specific regulator required reporting by taking the base data. So you have the base data, you have all the magic in between, and then you have the reports, right? Okay. So did that kind of a work. Then EY literally picked me up 7.5 years back. They had a specific market risk transformation related requirement for which I was picked up. So I worked for 7.5 years with EY in a lot of credit, market, regulatory, data, process change, adoption, complete business adoption of new methodologies, new technological platforms, etc. Okay. So I've done that kind of work. And again, I mean, right now, as a senior manager, I'm equally involved in RFP responses, new business idea generation, points of view, right? So there's a lot of talk that you do to the industry in order to that create that kind of a demand. So that's what I'm doing right now, at least still right now. Let's see what all. and what all life has to hold. And then FRM was really my turning point. So to be honest,
2015, right? 2014, 15.
2014-15. I mean, 5 years after JB, I decided that if somewhere this risk management was calling me. So I thought, why not really test ourselves? So post FRM, I mean, FRM has really helped me. It gave me the real nuts and bolts, fundamentals, mathematical background, right? So what happens is in consulting, you speak to different stakeholders who are handling different ends of the problem.
Okay.
So you may not be a quant necessarily, but to talk to a quant, you need fundamentals, right? So that FRM has been, I mean, really helpful in that case. So very briefly, this is.
So initially, your background was slightly marketing driven, and after FRM, it more deep dived into the risk management side.
It did. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now you have around 7 years of experience into consulting. So if somebody is working in a consulting firm and somebody is working in an industry, what is the difference in the mindset?
Very good question, and there's plenty of difference. Okay. So see, a risk consulting company will also work on the same challenges, credit risk, market risk, related challenges that organize it. See, it doesn't operate in a silo, right? You have to consult someone, right? That to get your consulting business going. So mindset in industry versus mindset in consulting, if I were to take out 3-4 points really, consulting in its very base is problem solving. Okay. And premium problem solving, you can say. Not ordinary, but premium problem solving. Okay. So if the problem is financial risk, I mean, consulting firms work with oil and gas industry, FMCG industry, wherever you want to consult, you have to have the understanding of that industry, obviously, right? But then the mindset is of a problem solver and a franchisee builder. Right. Okay. In industry, you're directly working with the problem. Now, let's say there's a multinational bank. So not leaking names, etc., but just general examples. So there's a multinational bank, right? Okay. Now it is trading different asset classes, including your derivatives, including your options and everything, right? And they have their internal setup, including quants, including model methodology people, etc., and everything going on. Right. Now, when you work in industry, you're going to be handling deeply one part of the problem. Okay. In consulting, you will be handling widely the entire problem. Okay. Consulting has width. Okay. Yeah. Obviously, I mean, your functional and domain knowledge has to be up to date. You have to actually, by the way, if you get into a consulting firm, you still have to undergo interviews, huh? Right. For client engagements.
First is the problem solving.
Problem solving has to be there. Has to be there. And then that mindset of why not make sort of an entrepreneurial mindset, you can say. Ab bhi entrepreneur. Problem statement we take, right? A certain solution starts working. Then we think if it works here, it could work A, B, C, 10 different places, can't it? Okay. So you become a franchisee builder. In industry, you may become definitely expert. Probably I know a lot of people in industry, okay, who know more than me in financial risk, right? Okay. You have your tail and you have your body of the probability distribution, right? Now VAR, there was a regulation called VAR. It said go till the 99th percentile point and take that 1 point. Okay, this is the maximum possible loss. Right. FRTB says, what about the hundreds of possible losses which could happen beyond the 99th percentile point? Right. So now if you have to sort of quantify that, your methodology or your kind of distributions you will take, probabilistic distributions will change. Okay. You will have to think which really are more tail risky kind of assets. Okay. So if I have a Bermuda option, let's say, or if I have rainbow option is nothing but, so you have like different asset classes, right? And different strike, like a machine gun, right? Okay. Whatever hits first, you go. Okay. Let's say you have something like that. Okay. And that's in a portfolio of a bank, right? You want to identify isme kitna loss hoga. So you go more FRTB-ish. In a nutshell. In industry, you will really go deep into that.
Okay. But consulting में आप बहुत flavor देख रहे हो.
बहुत flavor देखते हैं हम consulting में. Consulting में you have to always be interview ready. By the way, it's not as if you get a job in a consulting. You may be interviewed for 10 different things.
Right. मैं इस पे आऊँगा, इस particular सवाल पे भी आऊँगा. और जब आपने move किया था consulting में, जी, तो banking से consulting move आपने क्या सोच के move किया था? मतलब आपके दिमाग में भी कोई 2-3 पॉइंट होंगे, क्या आपके दिमाग में था उस टाइम?
देखिए, टू बी ऑनेस्ट, मैंने वो जब मैं वो ट्रांजिशन हो रहा था तो आई वाज अ फ्रेशली मिंटेड FRM, ठीक है. सो एंड आई एम वेरी ग्रेटफुल. तो FRM इज, आई वुड से, it has done hardware changes in my brain because I really sat down with FRM, really sat down with issues. So what happened is my mindset then was that with this, now I have business analysis skills, I understand sales process, etc., or those kind of things, right? Stakeholder management, etc., I have some exposure into. But with FRM, I thought I could lead some of these change programs. Okay. A kind of a leadership kind of a role. Okay. Right? Wherein, so if you have a whole department or a team trying to work on something, right, then to lead it, you need very strong fundamental skills, but you also need to know how the machine works. So I thought, if I have done FRM, right, and मैंने बहुत दिल से पढ़ा है, हाँ, FRM.
तो आप फिर बेसिकली उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करना चाह रहे थे?
बिल्कुल करना चाह रहा था मैं.
तो व्हाई नॉट इंडस्ट्री? मतलब आप इंडस्ट्री में ही कोई रिस्क टीम में चले जाते हो. आई एम जस्ट थिंक, मैं क्यों आपको सवाल पूछ रहा हूँ ना, बिकॉज जो बच्चे FRM करके भी पास हो रहे हैं, या तो मेरा सवाल वैसा है कि क्या उनको अपना करियर आफ्टर FRM इंडस्ट्री में करना चाहिए, कंसल्टिंग में करना चाहिए?
दे शुड डू सोल सर्चिंग.
अच्छा, ठीक है,
दे शुड डू सोल सर्चिंग.
बट क्या डिफरेंस है? मतलब आप फ्रेशर के पर्सपेक्टिव से सोचिए.
A fresher who's done FRM, CFA, etc., right? He would be wanting probably some implementation of whatever he's learned. That industry and consulting both will give you. Not that one gives you and one doesn't give you, right? But then you have to look, are you a right side brain, left side brain, right? Okay. Are you a combination thereof of the two, right? Which is possible. And even if you're a fresher, I would really urge, sit back, think. There are so many people on LinkedIn, right, who have advanced their careers in bank side or consulting side or whatever. Really think, will this really suit me? Because consulting has its pains, and so has industry. If you're more of a left brain kind of a person, and purely left brain, right? Okay. You want a very neat, clean problem to be solved. You want to get deep into it. Probably you've done FRM, you say कि मैं बाद में CQFB करूँगा after some hold on to this. You should go for banks. Okay. Consulting could bring in stakeholder management, travel, जो industry में कम रहेगा. जो industry में कम रहेगा. Okay. Sales targets, sales pressure, right? Now consulting, what happens is this tracking of revenue happens on a weekly basis in consulting. Every single week.
कितने number of hours billing हुई है.
Then it will go to the client. It will be stuck in some process A, process B, process C. All that time the ticker will be on. Revenue hasn't come. Right down to that level, a consulting firm will track its revenue. Okay. So first thing, there should be billing. For billing, there should be billable people.
Skill set होना चाहिए.
They should have the skill set and there should be an opportunity. Which matches it.
Correct.
Client demand. And then as a consulting firm, when you're planning your outlook, let's say 6 months down the line or 1 year down the line, it has everything to do with how much numbers you'll make. It has everything to, and then you move backwards from that. There. Let's say I want to make X CR of numbers. Then, depending on what, as a leader, your core area is, and then what your team's core competencies are, probably you could say, I can bring मैं credit risk की franchise build कर सकता हूँ, let's say. Okay. So then first you'll have a target, then you break it down into उसमें credit कितना हो सकता है, market कितना हो सकता है, IRR भी कितना हो सकता है, KFRD भी कितना हो सकता है. Everything is that way. Now if you're a leader in a bank, मैं fresher के perspective से भी बोलूँगा, if you're a leader in a bank, your thing will be, what are the 2-3 funded. अच्छा, by the way, salesmanship is there in banks also.
But उनको funds आ रहे हैं, जैसा आप बता रहे हो.
जब आ रहे हैं,
then they have to
make sure the goodies get delivered well. But if they are not able to sort of justify the goodies, अगले साल fund नहीं आएगा. Even if you're in a bank, right?
But consulting में सर वो है कि अगले साल client ही नहीं रहेगा.
नहीं, consulting, to be honest, I mean, what happens is you do a consulting program, right? 3 months, 6 months, right? You did what impact a consulting firm could have provided, and then they can handle it their own. So, which means for all the good work you did, you'll have to appear for another interview, won't it? for another role, and billability,
another project basically,
and the project
might change.
Project I would have done in 7 years, I would have done 10-12 projects, I would say.
तो जब भी आप प्रोजेक्ट से चेंज हो रहे हो तो आपको एक इंटरव्यू देना पड़ेगा विद द क्लाइंट।
देना पड़ेगा क्योंकि सी द थिंग इज, वो मैं चाय पीते हुए आपसे बोल रहा था, कंसल्टिंग इज अ ब्रांडिंग बिजनेस, इसको मत भूलिए।
हाँ, ये अच्छा आपने बताया, जरा थोड़ा और डिटेल में अगर आप, ये ऑडियंस के लिए भी अच्छा रहेगा।
So you might be doing your CFA, FRM, CA, article shape, whatever, CQF, good, and they are very good certifications. When I talk to these CQF kind of people, sometimes they end up teaching me. So I have all the respect for these certifications. But ultimately, consulting is a branding business. And what is the brand promise of a consulting firm? The brand promise of a consulting firm is A, expertise, B, speed, C, impact. Visible, actual impact. And D, tremendous amount of flexibility and mobility. That is what a consulting firm is giving you, right? So it is a branding business, which means these are like execution skills. You have to have an intuitive understanding, and obviously consulting with PPT बहुत बनाने पड़ते हैं, by the way. But yes. And by the way, in today's day and age, if you know AI good and have a domain expertise in anything, you can make beautiful PPTs. I'm not saying go to basics. I'm not at all saying go to your MBA days. MBA days were whatever, for me were 15 years back. In a nutshell, in let's say 2 slides, can you present a compelling problem and solution statement?
वो ज़्यादा होगा कंसल्टिंग में।
होगा ये
स्टार्टिंग से होगा, मतलब आप एनालिस्ट लेवल पे भी जाते हो?
नहीं।
तो अब इसमें हायरार्की कैसे होती है कोई भी नॉर्मल कंसल्टिंग फर्म में?
So you have consultants, you have senior consultants, you have managers, then you have senior managers, उनको कहीं senior manager बोलते हैं, कहीं associate director बोलते हैं, कहीं VP बोलते हैं, those. Then you have directors and partner. In partner also, you could be a salaried partner or you could be an equity partner. So that is the hierarchy. जैसे आपने कहा, शुरू से इतना नहीं, I think consultant and senior consultant level, the most important thing that is expected of you is that A, you have the smarts to be deployable to a problem that you're trying to solve, and then you should get good feedback. You should get, see, I'll tell you, you have to ultimately connect to people, right? Someone might be a market risk head or whatever, he's a person in the end, right? So consulting is sales, but it is not FMCG sales, right? It's not volume sales.
But ground, जब initial consultant and senior consultant, तब उतना level का sale होगा ही नहीं. It is more execution. Am I correct?
It is more execution. But the billing you're bringing in yourself is sales, is numbers. So typically a consulting firm now, they plan their profitabilities very well. And I fully agree with that. That's how you should do business. So what happens is, even when you're taking, it's not as if a consulting firm को engagement आया तो उठा लेगा. There's an internal review also whether it makes sense to do this business or not. Consulting firms reject business also.
Acha, okay.
They reject business also. Beyond a certain, below a certain level of profitability, no deal.
Okay. सर मैं थोड़ा सा आपको डिवेट करूँ.
Sure.
जैसे भी कंसल्टेंट एंड सीनियर कंसल्टेंट लेवल पे हम और थोड़ा सा हायरार्की लेवल पे बात करते हैं कि जब कोई ज्वाइन करता है तो व्हाट आर द एक्सपेक्टेशन इन एट दीस टू लेवल्स फ्रॉम द कैंडिडेट एंड व्हाट ही कैन डू टू डू बेटर इन दीस टू लेवल्स.
Sure. So at a consultant and senior consultant level, not necessarily the entire problem perhaps, but at least the pillars have to be very strong.
Okay.
I cannot have if someone cannot tell me what is a war and what is a stressed war.
हाँ, वो बेसिक्स आने चाहिए बेसिकली.
बेसिक्स आने चाहिए और कंसल्टिंग फर्म थोड़ा सा उसको टेस्ट भी करेगी कि ठीक है, वार, स्ट्रेस्ड वार, राइट? अच्छा, जस्ट से आई मैथमेटिकली कैन एक्सपेक्टेड शॉर्टफॉल एवर बी स्मॉलर देन वार? जस्ट क्वेश्चन.
नहीं होगा ऑब्वियसली.
नहीं होगा, करेक्ट. बट आपको
वो कॉन्सेप्चुअली आपको पता होना चाहिए.
अच्छा, कोई इसी पे आ जाए कि क्यों, तो वो वेरिएंस कोवेरिएंस किधर पे आएगा? अच्छा, वेरिएंस जहां पे कोरिलेशन किन्हीं दो चीजों का वन होता है, A square plus 2ab plus that into 1 करके वो a plus b का square करके a plus b मतलब there's no diversification impact you can say, right? So if someone asks, right, he may get into it a bit कि भाई ऐसा क्यों होगा, इसके पीछे की maths क्या है, right? They will want to understand that a bit, right? You should understand what is credit risk. You may not be, I mean, nobody may necessarily.
आप बहुत एक्सपर्ट नहीं हो, बट आपको बेसिक्स सारे पता होने चाहिए. अगर आप कोई कंसल्टिंग रिस्क कंसल्टिंग में काम करो तो क्रेडिट रिस्क क्या है, मार्केट रिस्क क्या है, उसके बेसिक पैरामीटर्स क्या है.
And what's the overall impact?
अच्छा, impact.
What's the overall impact?
Okay.
You may not know necessarily कि भाई इतना इतना इतना, but देखिए एक end to end there is a deal, exposure, trade, etc., which creates market risk, credit risk, and other risks, right? How do they impact capital? How do they impact reputation? I'm not asking you to draw out the RWA calculation formula necessarily, but how the translation happens from FRM CFA to working in consulting industry wherever it is. This is applied, right? है ना? So you might have read that in the book, but you have to have the chops to implement it.
Okay.
The other thing is the problems are very, very unstructured. Okay, the real world, just like the traffic which led me here, is unstructured, unplanned. There are glaring gaps. You might think there's a big bank, so if everything were to be in order, why all these programs in the first place, right? So you have to deal with a lot of unstructured things.
Okay.
You have to, certain things may not have immediate 100% quantitative proof, but that leap of faith you should have.
Okay.
वो होना चाहिए. There's logical skills you should have
at the entry level. Consultancy
absolute must have.
Okay. और कैसे सक्सीड कर सकते हैं? अगर मैं 2 लेवल पे ज्वाइन करता हूँ, मुझे प्रोग्रेशंस करने हैं, तो मैं सिर्फ अभी इनिशियल 2 लेवल की बात कर रहा हूँ, कंसल्टेंसी लेवल, तो क्या सक्सीड करने के लिए क्या चाहिए मुझे?
First thing I would say is once you get on to a project or some engagement, right? Right from a consultant level, create a practice of summary note creation. Okay. Sometimes people underestimate it a lot.
Okay, what is that summary note?
So summary note is, okay, what is the problem? Okay, so 3-4 points bank is trying to do FRTB. Okay, for what? For these asset classes. Okay, what are the power centers? So okay, London does this, New York does this, etc. Right? Okay, what are the outcomes you're trying to achieve? Okay, what are the key holes in the plan? What are the holes in the plan? A bank might say मेरे को तो FRTB करना है, ठीक है. FRTB says भाई पोजीशन लेवल पे नहीं, यहाँ पे ट्रेड लेवल पे लाना है डेटा. Do you have everything in place to put
this
things?
Could be a problem. This could, so
it's a problem.
हाँ. Okay, तो बेसिकली आपको वो भी अंडरस्टैंड करने आना चाहिए कि ये अगर मैं सर्विस प्रोवाइड कर रहा हूँ कंसल्टिंग की, तो ये चैलेंजेस आ सकते हैं.
बिल्कुल चैलेंजेस आएंगे ही. और अगर आपको चैलेंजेस नहीं आ रहे हैं, well, you're not doing a good project, you're not attached to some good project. A good project will literally roast you very properly.
Okay.
It will roast you.
This is very interesting because सबको लगता है कि FRM CFA करने के बाद मेरी लाइफ बहुत इजी हो जाएगी. तो this point.
And another thing, your stakeholder might have not done FRM CFA or anything else. It's a reality of life. Please understand, all these banks are 150, 200-year-old, right? They have their own hierarchy, organizations. People have been working there 30 years, right? They may have not done FRM, but they have so much interesting understanding of what's going on. They may help you. See, I'll tell you, humbleness, flexibility is absolutely needed. You may have done FRM with all top quartiles, and the person you're solving the problem with might have none of your qualifications. But then not having qualifications does not mean you cannot be sharp. I'll tell you, treat your customer as a treasure house of organizational context.
Okay.
You have to do it. If you're solving one particular problem, one particular stream, you have to be curious. What are the other streams?
Achha.
Who's this person? What's this person doing? Are some other problems coming up in this area, that area? Okay. So that's consulting DNA. You should make that. Okay. So the moment you start doing that, leaders will take a note. And let me tell you, consultant से senior consultant is not a very difficult promotion. Senior consultant से manager, slightly difficult. Manager से senior manager, more difficult. These promotions in consulting start becoming difficult as you progress.
तो इफ अगर कोई मैनेजर लेवल पे जाता है तो मैनेजर लेवल पे जनरली रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज क्या होती है?
तो मैनेजर लेवल पे रिस्पॉन्सिबल फर्स्ट थिंग्स फर्स्ट, यू हैव टू बी बिलेबल योरसेल्फ. And what is a manager in consulting? You can call it call it a AVP or something to that effect in industry. The equivalent, say designations, right?
Okay.
So if there's a manager joining my team, I would want him to be at least AVP grade billable.
Okay, but he'll also work on the project.
He will also work on the project. Even partners work on the project. By the way.
अच्छा.
कंसल्टिंग किसी को नहीं छोड़ता भाई.
Okay.
बिलिंग किधर है? बिलिंग.
ओके ओके. तो वो फिर एक तो बिलेबल होने चाहिए, फिर
बिलेबल होने चाहिए. दूसरा थोड़ा सा क्या है, यू हैव टू स्पेंड टाइम विद द क्लाइंट. नॉट जस्ट कि यू आर अ क्लाइंट, आई गेट रेवेन्यू फ्रॉम यू. स्पेंड टाइम विद दोस पीपल. रिलेशनशिप हैज टू बी देयर एंड concrete evidence of your relationship has to start flowing out.
Could be more work also.
Could be more work. Good feedback is always important because understand, if you also run a business, right? You might have XYZ revenue. The least you want is next year there should be rollover of this revenue. You would want that, right?
Yes.
So the first thing a consulting firm wants is you should be stickable to one project as long as they want, and they should want it. So it is beyond just your FRM skills. FRM skills will, uske bina to ho hi nahi sakta, right? You have to have very good communication skills also. And communication doesn't mean Hindi, English. क्लिष्ट हिंदी बोलना या बहुत ही बेहतरीन अंग्रेजी कहना, वो कम्युनिकेशन नहीं है. वो है, देयर अंडरलाइंग स्किल्स. बट कम्युनिकेशन मीन्स आई विल गो वन स्टेप फर्दर. यू शुड हैव कंपैशन. इफ यू आर कंपैशनेट, इफ यू रियली थिंक, यार बॉस, दिस गाय हैज अ प्रॉब्लम, हाउ कैन आई हेल्प हिम?
ओके.
समटाइम्स
ये जो मतलब जो आपने एक पॉइंट बोला कि रिलेशनशिप बनाना है और जो बिलिंग हो रही है उसको कंटिन्यू करना है, कम से कम बढ़ा ही नहीं सकते तो वो एटलीस्ट कंटिन्यू करते रहिए.
बेयर मिनिमम.
तो यहाँ पे मैनेजर को टीम हैंडल करने दी जाती है.
बिल्कुल.
तो उसकी भी टीम पूरी एक पर्टिकुलर प्रोजेक्ट पे बैठेगी.
यस.
ओके. एंड देन फ्रॉम मैनेजर टू सीनियर मैनेजर लेवल क्या पर्सपेक्टिव चेंज चाहिए अगर आपको ग्रो करना है?
So senior manager level, now it is assumed that you'll be billable to any project. You'll be able to clear any interview whenever required, right?
Okay.
You'll be able to lead. You'll be able to groom your people. That is required, bare minimum. But at the same time, the weightage of just your project starts falling down after senior manager level. You have to be billable. You have to have a project, which is fine. But now you have to really support the firm's pursuits into greenfield opportunities or brownfield opportunities, right? So you can start brownfield. मैं ये नहीं कह रहा एकदम ही नया कुछ आप प्रपोज कर दीजिए. What happens is, Ganesh, see, these banks are gigantic. These banks typically ballpark at AVP level, right? If you're 2-3 associates working at AVP level, it could generate somewhere to the 2 CR of revenue for you.
For the company.
For the company. So how do you construct those numbers? Let's say you want to create 10 CR of new revenue. So you back calculate that, okay, it will require, let's say 3-4 opportunities, right? And 2-3 good people starting working on them. That billing itself will create your initial set of revenue. Right? वो तो होगा ही होगा. But at a senior manager level, now you should be, there are pursuits and proposals, okay? Which are happening at the partner level, which are happening at the top level, MD level, let's say. वहाँ पे चीजें become a lot relationship driven.
बराबर, हाँ.
So let's say someone heard a problem statement somewhere in London, right? And we want to really pitch for it. Then the skill of a senior manager will be putting the storyboarding skills, first of all.
Okay.
Putting a good storyboard, right? Which resonates with your team, with the customer, right? Then deal making. Deal making would be, if there's an opportunity, what's the scale, what's the profitability, what's the strategic next step, etc. of that particular engagement. So you have to cobble together the deal also, right? That's a skill you'll need to have.
So it's more slightly sales driven. You have to lead. You have, like you said, you have to train also.
You have to train also.
2-3 चीजें बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ जाती है, जैसे आप सीनियर मैनेजर, डायरेक्टर इस लेवल पे पहुंच जाते हो.
Yes.
What is the level of जैसे जनरली कंसल्टिंग के अगर आप पेन पॉइंट्स बताओ, okay, तो वो क्या होंगे? कंपनीज में काम कर रहे हैं तो पेन पॉइंट क्या हो सकते हैं?
I'm not saying extra hours really.
Okay.
Just juggling way too many things. It's going to happen.
Okay. क्योंकि आप एक 2-3 प्रोजेक्ट्स पे काम कर रहे हो, ऐसा भी होता है?
एक प्रोजेक्ट पे आप काम कर रहे हो, एक प्रोजेक्ट पे आप परस्यूट कर रहे हो,
अच्छा.
तीसरे प्रोजेक्ट पे आपको बुलाया गया एज एन एक्सपर्ट कि यू स्टीयर दिस अ बिट बॉस, these people are juniors, you need to steer this a bit, right? And then at a partner level the expectations are different from you, but then at a team level they have different other expectations. कहीं ना कहीं देखो यार, मिडिल मैनेजमेंट,
तो टाइम मैनेजमेंट आपको करना ही है बेसिकली, दैट इज वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट चैलेंज.
टाइम मैनेजमेंट इज अ चैलेंज एंड प्रायोरिटी मैनेजमेंट इज अ चैलेंज, एंड द थिंग इज you have to develop your own sort of a rhythm of solving problems, right?
Okay.
If you ask me, do I work 15 hours? I don't. There are days I work 5 hours, but in those 5 hours I work like a machine gun, solve everything that's there for me. I'm not saying I work 5 hours every day, but I'm just saying you have to, every person has a certain frequency of getting things done. They're different. So कोई दूसरा आपको नहीं सिखा सकता ये पर्टिकुलर चीज कैसे करनी है, but the point is you'll have to have your weekly revenue kind of a thing. You'll have to do there'll be client meetings happening, there'll be your firm meetings happening parallelly, right?
Okay. तो आप मतलब you have to juggle a lot of things.
Juggle a lot of things.
Okay.
Juggle a lot of things. But a market risk manager भी तो वही करता है ना, he juggles a lot of things, right?
Agreed.
This is a separate kind of market risk.
यहाँ पे stakeholder management ज़्यादा बढ़ जाता है.
बहुत बढ़ जाता है, बहुत बढ़ जाता है. एंड देखिए, स्टेक होल्डर मैनेजमेंट का मतलब खाली एक यू कैन से पैसिव काइंड ऑफ एक्टिविटी नहीं है. स्टेक होल्डर मैनेजमेंट, आई वुड गो 4 steps beyond and say the stakeholder should literally have faith in you.
Okay.
That's why I was saying it's a branding business, ultimately. Your personal brand you have to definitely establish.
Okay.
Your team's personal brand should definitely be established. Your everything to such a degree that he asks you first when he has a problem to solve.
Client will ask you
How can you do this? Can you put together something? So it is sales, but it is not FMCG sales or any that kind of a sale which has it's not volume sales. It doesn't have a lot of distribution channels.
Right.
But subtly, silently, you have to capture mind space.
Okay.
By showing your tricks of the trade.
Correct. So my next question is around कि अगर कोई अपना करियर बनाना चाहता है in consulting, risk consulting, तो आपके हिसाब से 4-5 क्या स्किल सेट उसमें होने चाहिए?
Absolutely rock solid logical interpretation skills. Every time you will be digesting this problem, that problem, internal problem, that, and a lot of you can say, because it's running a shop ultimately, it's entrepreneurship.
Okay.
So you have to have width, right, in your logical structuring.
Okay.
That you should be able to solve problems. That's one thing. You absolutely need that. The other thing is, even at a junior level, nobody is stopping you from developing gravitas.
Okay.
Nobody is stopping you from doing that. So even if you do your CFA FRM, I would say do a bit of a personality. Not that ऊपर से पेंटिंग लगाने की बात नहीं कर रहा मैं, थोड़ा सा ये कि something can be said in 100 words or 5, depending on the maturity level of the person involved.
Correct.
Right. If you're saying 100 words, you're leaving lesser space for actual intel that's coming from the other person.
Okay.
So gravitas, I don't know how to develop. सबके अपने अपने तरीके होते हैं, but you have to, without gravitas you'll not be able to progress.
Okay. Any other skill set?
I would say programming languages, because you're talking about the consultant and senior consultant levels. What is happening is a lot of these people they are given tasks around data validations, data reconciliations, right? Okay. Sometimes you have to create views which give an overall picture. Okay. Those kind of tasks definitely come into the bucket of such folks. So probably Python, right? Okay. Or SQL. So I'm not saying, see, in today's world, even if you don't know any language, at least ask Chat GPT very properly, right? If I were to लेट्स से टेक आउट, एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल कंस्ट्रक्ट करते हैं. यू हैव अ रिपोजिटरी, वहां पे ट्रेड्स आ रहे हैं अलग से, ठीक है, फिर कोलैटरल आ रहे हैं अलग से, ठीक है. अब यू हैव टू जस्ट मैच कौन सा कोलैटरल किस ट्रेड को है, लेट्स से.
ओके.
सिंपल प्रॉब्लम. एफआरएम की बुक्स कहती हैं इसके बारे में, राइट.
राइट.
क्योंकि एफआरएम की बुक्स ये नहीं कहती हैं कि वो ट्रेड के 5 टेबल होंगे,
ओके.
वो उसके ये होंगे. यू शुड हैव दैट. That's why I think logic is the mother of all subjects, right? You should have that logical ability to get into the data extraction logics, the data enrichment logics, rather than being bogged down by, "Arey, this is XYZ technology, I can't do it." Let me tell you, all technologies are simple.
Okay.
If you have logical brains, and if you use ChatGPT very properly, you can pick up anything.
Okay.
So, because what happens is, a lot of these model validation, etc. work now. They do need some amount of programming skills. You should have that.
Okay, interesting. And sir, what is one advice that has changed your life in terms of career that you must have got? If you can share that, that will motivate a lot of people.
I was not very good with representation, to be honestly, to be honest.
Okay.
When I joined consulting, I'm not saying I'm very good at it right now, but I'm definitely decent. So my structuring was not that good, to be honest. Okay. So my boss told me that this is consulting, right? And as I told you, it's a brand business. If you have to, let's say, even send a certain slide or send even a certain update, right, to a stakeholder, right, it should be one read, ready, understood, settled.
Okay. Okay.
So your written communication, the kind of presentations, etc., that you're putting in, I'm not saying necessarily they should be flowery. I'm not talking about flowery language. I'm not talking about hundreds of color palettes. I'm not talking about that at all. But what I'm saying is, वो होना जरूर चाहिए in place.
Clear communication.
Clear, crystal clear. आप देखिए,
ये आपको बेसिकली तो पहले इसमें चेंज आपने लाया बेसिकली.
मैंने बहुत deliberately चेंज लाया. Another thing I was told is, बहुत मेरे को काम आई है लाइफ में, हाँ. And thanks to that boss of mine, he's still a good friend of mine. He gave me very good advice. Not all meetings require inputs from you.
Acha, interesting.
Lot of meetings you have to just keep your mouth shut and try and understand what is happening.
Okay.
Sometimes what happens is, we are consultant, we've just done FRM, right? We want to show the people how much knowledge you have. Definitely you have knowledge. Nobody is denying that. But then the person at the other end, right, might be probably 25 years older to you. He can see the spark, young spark in you, right? But first listen. Don't try to show your skills. Let them become apparent on their own. So that is one advice I got, कि भाई, तो मैं बहुत सी मीटिंग्स में अभी, मेरा मतलब नहीं तो शांत जरूर रहता हूँ, but I do attend them because I need to grasp, right? Another thing, another advice would be, बहुत अच्छा सेंटेंस है, ठीक है, और मेरे को मेरे बॉस ने एडवाइस दी थी, देखो भाई, जो दिखता है वो बिकता है.
Okay.
You could have the best skills, right? If they're not coming out, there's a thing called coming out a certain way. You cannot put a finger on something why it's not coming out now. जैसे फिल्म देखते हो आप, कई फिल्म अच्छी होती है लेकिन फिर भी आपका मन नहीं करता, ठीक है यार थोड़ा बहुत. कोई फिल्म ऐसी होती है, you can watch it 10th time also.
Yes.
So that is called how things are coming out. So coming out is an essence of everything. It'll have a dash of the context. It'll have a dash of risk. But the ability to assimilate everything into, okay, how it will work. Okay, if it doesn't work, what will we do? What are the paths of the problem really? How is it handled in the organization? That's very important now, by the way. अरे भाई, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में भी इंटरनल टसल हो सकते हैं, जिसको आप सर्विस कर रहे हो.
तो अपनी ब्रांडिंग थोड़ी और अच्छी करनी चाहिए.
यस.
मार्केटिंग थोड़ी खुद
करनी ही चाहिए. गो टू लिंक्डइन ना. मैं भी वीडियोस डालता हूँ अपने लिंक्डइन पे, वो मैं ऐसे ही डाल देता हूँ यार. मेरे को लगता है, मेरे को बोल, कभी देयर समथिंग आई शुड स्पीक आल्सो ऑन दिस सब्जेक्ट, आई थिंक. तो व्हाई नॉट गो अहेड, राइट आर्टिकल्स. आप भी बहुत अच्छे आर्टिकल्स लिखते हैं. आई सी योर पोस्ट, लाइक योर पोस्ट. ब्रांडिंग करिए, डेफिनेटली ब्रांडिंग करिए, इट विल हेल्प यू इमेंसली.
ओके. सर, अभी नेक्स्ट इज दी रैपिड फायर सेक्शन. तो क्विकली आप, मतलब आपको आंसर फास्ट करना है. One skill every risk management aspirant must learn.
Multitasking.
Okay, interesting. A book or resource you recommend for learning risk?
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
People are putting entire 230 pages PDFs there. Download them, put them in Chat GPT, and get summaries. You'll become very wise in risk management.
Okay. One common mistake students make while preparing for FRM.
Try to get the syllabus over quickly rather than going in depth.
Okay. Data skill or communication skill, which matters most?
Data skills.
Okay. One daily habit that keeps you effective as a leader?
Every day I spend half an hour into questioning different LLMs onto what I know myself. Every day I spend some time on that.
Okay.
So it keeps me sharp and fresh.
Okay. Best way to stay updated on regulatory changes?
See, in LinkedIn post risk.net. Risk.net has a lot of resources.
Very famous website.
Yeah.
One line advice to students entering finance and consulting.
Keep your expectations realistic.
Okay, interesting. So, I mean, this conversation, Ashmant sir, will definitely help a lot of students because they come with a basic understanding about, okay, I want to get into risk management. But what exactly happens in risk consulting is what we have discussed today. I'm sure this will help really, really a lot. Thank you again, sir, for taking out.
Thanks a lot.